Greetings. It is 12:35, I guess, on this Saturday, July 9th. Or is it the 10th? Whatever. It'll be corrected and posted in the title of the video. To my point, the title of this video is Peace. This may end up being a series because there's so many aspects of peace, but Philippians 4:6-8. Now thanks be unto God. No. That's 2 Corinthians 2:14. Now thanks be unto God who always causes us to triumph and makes the savor of his knowledge known in all areas. Philippians 4:6-8 says, be anxious for nothing. Don't worry about nothing. But through prayer and supplication and thanksgiving, make your requests known to God, and the peace of God will guard your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus. By the way, meditate on these things, that which is good, that which is wholesome, that which is edifying, that which is praiseworthy. Meditate on good things. I look at the times when there's no peace between our ears, inside our mind, when our thoughts are streaming and raging and we're not meditating on those things which are good. We're so focused on that one or two or few things that, or just going through a stream of or flood of issues that we face throughout life, because we choose not to forget the past. And I was moved to take a journey down my past, especially with relationships. I remember let's go all the way back. Was it 7th, 8th grade? I think it was the first girl I really cared about. And let's just say, I'm not gonna call names, but I'm gonna go through the list. And we transitioned, and that ended. Then there was a heartbreak. Okay, let's sum this all up, because I'll be all over the place. I had so many heartbreaks in relationships early on, and a lot of them came back. I'll never forget this one particular senior year crush that I had, and she liked this older guy in college, and I had a scholarship to go to Alabama and Florida, and I ended up staying home so I could be close to this young lady who ended up putting me in the friend zone. So I guess at that moment I got the friend zone complex, because every girl I really liked put me in the friend zone. And this was coupled with so much low self-esteem, and there was no peace in relationships. And everybody that gave me peace, I wasn't comfortable with, because I wasn't used to it. My mind was always going to extremes because I wasn't liked. I was suicidal because of how I wasn't liked by these particular girls that, I didn't care about guy cliques. I had enough male friends. It was always the females that caused me to go through such extremes. But one thing, if you were ever labeled gifted, your biggest challenge in life is learning how to cope with rejection. Yes, I was gifted Yes, I am smart. Yes, I'm used to getting most things right. And even to this day, I have to go through the process of life ain't over just because I got rejected. And I finally got enough esteem to say, if you ain't for me, deuces. There were 3 adult relationships, key adult relationships, that changed me. One was a friend zone, off and on relationship that I had throughout college. And to me, she was the most beautiful woman I had ever been with. And she told me why she never dated me, because I was critical of her one time when we were working out. And she was just like, I would break her heart because we were so close. And I was just like, I would never consciously break your heart, but I understand what you're saying. And it helped me to learn the value of communication, and it planted a seed of be careful of what you say. The second adult relationship was the first time I wanted to get married. I got tired of being the side dude. I got tired of the extended relationships. And I just said I want to do it right for a change. I had started going to church. And I never forget looking at this woman's smile. I was like, I could wake up to that smile for the rest of my life. And it took me about 8 years to get over her. But the seed she planted was, love is the strongest force on the universe. Forgiveness is real. And she also taught me that I have to value what God says over what she says and what I say about me. And she made me want to be a man, a real man, a biblical man. And from that point forward, I studied to learn what I know is to be the 6 points of man, which is prophet, priest, provider, protector, and king. And she, we had off and on times during those 8 years, and finally she just like, no more. I always thought we would get together eventually, but when you realize that you're in 2 different spaces mentally when you move forward, you're not who attracted each other to each other. And I know I hurt her bad. I hurt her real bad. The cheating and lying and just, so I accepted the moving forward. I accepted the not being able to communicate with her even about our child. And it took me to a place of just love. So in my last marriage, that's all I did was just love as best I could. Nah, I ain't perfect. Everybody argues. We had some heated discussions, some mean words, and losing that relationship made me stop believing in God, really. I mean, we were still talking. I was mad at God, and because I lost relationship, and eventually God brought me to a place of healing, and I had some people to help me heal during that time. All I can say is I thank God for his abundant, merciful, graceful love, that even when I stopped believing, he still held my hand. There was no peace in meditating on everything that went wrong. There was no peace in the rejection that I constantly reminded myself of. It went to the extreme of I deleted her contact, and our kids are still friends, but or still, claim each other. I mean, even some of her kids I still claim. But I just had to just completely just block that part of my life out of my mind because it wasn't peaceful. And even when I looked at the intermediate times of fun we had, there were so many times of discord, whether over children, being fair, whatever the issues were. And I realized it really wasn't that great. And not to say I wouldn't have stuck it out and did my best to keep working through it, but you can't be a team without everybody doing their part. The peace I got from that is be with somebody who want to be with you. There is no peace in trying to run after somebody who puts forth no energy when you're doing all the work all the time. It is just a waste of time. You become frustrated. You become unfulfilled. Now, granted, you need to be doing something that's considered to be your part in the relationship. Otherwise, you have no right to complain about what somebody else is not doing. But if you're putting forth effort continuously or regularly, and they're not putting forth any fight for you, it's over. They're going to leave. All the prayers in the world will never change free will. A person has to decide. All you can do is just love. And I will say, after she left, there was a point where she tried to come back, but at that point it was just like, I could never trust you ever again. I could never trust you with my heart again, because all I'm looking over my shoulder is, when you gonna leave again? When is gonna be the next issue? When is gonna be the next criticism? When is gonna be the next? And again, I wasn't perfect. I triggered a lot of her sore spots, not intentionally. Being late, jokes that she didn't like, use of profanity, not necessarily even in anger, just use of profanity. So anyway, that relationship ended, and I recognized that just because you help somebody heal, that doesn't mean you're meant to be together. Be at peace knowing that life goes on no matter what happens. As long as you're breathing, living, you got your conscious mind, you got a choice. And your biggest choice is what you allow in here, what you allow between here. Again, my biggest struggle has been with meditating on I guess regretful situations in relationships. The shoulda, coulda, wouldas, the wish you were here's and stuff like that. And I've just had to evolve to say, you know what? I come home to a house that's peaceful. I have friends now who truly love me, who truly care about me, who truly work with me, who add to me. And I'm not just saying female friends. I even had to look at some of my male friend relationships. And I recognized when I wasn't that people-pleasing guy for them anymore, that they didn't too much cater to me. When I started loving on myself more, I don't want to say cater to me, it was just like the relationship ended. I mean, 2 real long relationships. One of them was a lifetime friend. I never thought we'd fall out, but we fell out over money. So that's how I see it. I mean, there's 2 sides to every story, but that's, at the end of the day, that's how I see it. And I've just had to say, I can't keep looking backwards. And that's why we must forget the past so you can press forward to a brighter future, to a better future. Press forward to something greater. If you're not pressing forward, you're basking in death. Because the past is dead. It's his story. Or her story. Or their story. But your story is not finished. That's why you gotta meditate on stuff that is good, that is praiseworthy. It's like, oh yeah, God, you did that for me. You brought me out of that. And with each one of those relationships, I mean, I'll never forget, and I've said this in a previous video. With that first marriage, I was sobbing on the floor. And I'll never forget, he said, go read Genesis chapter 4, where Cain, story of Cain and Abel, or Cain killed Abel. But he was like, why are you mad? Pretty much. Why is your countenance falling? If you do good, then want to be pleasing. But if you do bad, sin lies at your door, waiting for you to take over you. So I've just come to the point where if I'm not with the person I want to be with at that moment, I'm always with God. God has always been there for me. Always will be there for me. And I'm never alone. And I guess part of it has been my ideal of what life should be. I had this mindset that if I'm not working, I should be with my mate. But isn't God married to the backslider, to all of us? So never forget your first love is God. The peace of God be with you.